Okay, we are live. I'll give it a minute for people to know. It's taking a minute to load on my end. It's on a little buffering. Very interesting. And we will wait a few. And then I'll start running my mouth. Oh, let me set this. All right, so while I'm waiting, good evening. So, it came to me, old lives matter. Because there's so many people like, oh, well, it's an old person's, disease, and it's only killing the older people. Even one of the reporters had the nerve to say it. Not sure if he wasn't paid to say that, but anyway. Um, well, now a 14-year-old, a teenager, has died in California from it as of today. And anyway, who has the right to say, oh, we don't care if y'all die? Our immediate gratification is more important than you living, is the attitude a lot are taking. Shame on them. Shame, shame, shame. So, um, and, that's people's moms and dads and aunts and uncles and sisters and brothers and uh, children. And, there's a lot of people that have underlying illnesses. Even some of these ones talking about they don't, why should they have to stay in because, it might kill the sick or elderly, they're going to die anyway. And, well, a lot of them running their mouths probably have underlying illnesses and just don't even know it yet, but they'll find out if they get the coronavirus. Anyway, I guess they don't understand, the whatever. It just is really upsetting that people are looking at it that way. That so what? It's only killing the old people and people that are already ill. Okay, so somebody with asthma that's 20 years old deserves to die because, well, they've got an illness, so we don't care. Or heart disease. I have a young man that I call one of my sons. I kind of adopted him. He has a pacemaker. He's had a pacemaker all his life. They have to go in and change it every few years. And, he's 28, 29, maybe 30 now. I don't think so, but he might be 30. But anyway, he definitely can't afford to catch the coronavirus because everyone's got this nonchalant attitude. So how dare anyone say, oh, well, why should we stop our lives because 3 million people that are already, over 50 or have underlying illnesses, including children, can die from this. People are going to die anyway. Boy, I'd like to see their face when they try to answer that one to Jesus, when they stand in front of him. How they think they have the right to say other people's lives don't matter based on their desires for immediate gratification. And that's what that is. Well, we want to be able to go to the beach and the park. Yeah, we all do. So how dare how dare you think we should care about these 3 million people that could die from this or more? I'm gonna tell you right now, it's looking just what I've been watching, and none of the numbers are the numbers are hard to calculate, but right now it's at a 15% death rate for the people it's infecting. Okay, and that's just who's being tested. Because I guarantee you in December and January there were cases and people died, but they didn't have a coronavirus test. They didn't know about the coronavirus, and they didn't test positive for, the flu, and they died from the same symptoms. So anyway, as we said last night, this is a lot worse than people think it is. So, scripture calls Satan the prince of the power of the air. And so I was thinking, tornadoes, they definitely look evil. They look evil. They look evil. There's no other way to describe them. They look evil, right? Hurricanes look evil. They look evil when you look at them. Airborne diseases that can affect millions. I guess even the allergies, all that stuff, if he's the prince of power of the air, we can blame all that directly on him, which we could anyway, for a multitude of reasons, but there you go. That's my opinion. Anyway, I give it some time for the people that we love to come in, and we welcome newcomers and people that have questions or concerns or just want to vent on, what's going on. And I'll give it a few minutes since I don't do advertising ahead of time, which I need to start doing. Where it gives you the notification that there'll be a show at 8 or 9 or whatever, and then you can click on it to remind you when the show comes on or whatever. That would get a quicker start. So I'll start implementing that, but I don't know. I might not be doing any shows in the next 8-9 days until I get back to work full time. We'll see. There's some things I need to do to keep everything safe, and I can't do that right now. We'll see. But anyway, so yes, a 14-year-old teenager has passed away in California related to COVID-19, aka SARS-2 CoV. It's beginning to look more like MERS, though, because MERS had a 39% death rate. Now, mind you, MERS second go round, MERS mutation is going to happen. MERS had a 39% death rate. SARS had a 10% death rate. This one is already looking like a 15% based on the numbers right now of who's been tested, who is tested positive, who has died, and who's recovered. Right now, it's at 15% on deaths. So, and then we know that there's still not enough tests out there to do testing appropriately. to get appropriate numbers. But the numbers that they are testing is very concerning results. So our dear president made a presumptuous, I want to call it irresponsible comment today, leading the country into thinking that we'll be back to normal before Easter or by Easter. We will probably be at the very height of this at Easter. Hey, Suzanne, how are you, sweetheart? Did you hear John call in last night? We had John from Florida in the house. So did you hear that the 14-year-old has now passed away from corona? The governor of California was announcing it, and he said 50% of their patients, 50% of the people they are testing positive for coronavirus are 18 to 49. And now a 14-year-old has passed away from it. But you know what irks me is that a lot of people, yes, a lot of people have this attitude that, and even one of the reporters said it this morning when he was interviewing Trump, at the press conference. Or was it not? Or was it? Might have been Como. Anyway, I think it might have been Como because he got really heated by it. Yeah, I think it was Como. So I got that wrong because he got really heated by their question. Like it doesn't matter. Like old people, as this person was saying, it's only the old people and the people that are already sick. Now we're talking about people that have asthma their entire life, like me, or people that have had heart disease their life, almost my entire life, like me. So this coronavirus could have came around when I was 28 years old, and I would have been just as susceptible to it then as I am now. To it wreaking devastation. Um, but so a lot of people have this attitude because they're thinking about immediate gratification. They want to go to the park and the beach and the bowling alley and the bars and all that. I get that. My bigger concern is the economic situation this is causing for all of us. But they're saying they don't care if 3 million plus people die from this virus because they're older people or people with underlying illnesses. You've got 3-year-olds with underlying illnesses. You got kids that have severe allergies that don't have a strong immune system. You have, this is crazy. Just the flus alone, yes, they have been intense, and they're getting more intense. They're mutating. They're coming back stronger and stronger each time. And so, Scripture says that Satan is the prince of the air, right? Prince of the power of the air. And well, it's our air. If you look at the level of pollution in the air, if you look at tornadoes, which are like evil looking, I've never seen a tornado that didn't look evil, you know. Even hurricanes are evil looking. Well, there's your person that controls the air, Satan. And then you got airborne viruses. And we know he's the prince of darkness too. So anyway, so yeah, that's why I called this one "Old Lives Matter." Really, to me, all lives matter. But I'm being a bit sarcastic against the people that think they shouldn't have to be inconvenienced because it'll just be the flu for them, but it's death for 3 million or more other people worldwide. And how dare them be so callous? Who gives them the right to say they don't think other people have the right to live because it's infringing on they're going out and partying and stuff. Yeah, it's a Satan looking cloud. See, it's part pig. See, the nose is like a pig, and so it's a it's a Satan vampire whatever monster. Excuse me. No, it's not a real cloud. It was a cloud, and somebody edited it. Although I told you I saw Satan in the clouds when I was lying back in the swimming pool a few years back. I saw Satan in the clouds. I saw a white horse and someone on it, and I saw a fetus. And it freaked me out because my daughter was pregnant at the time, and I was worried that it was a sign of something was wrong with her pregnancy. And because I didn't realize, wait, scripture says the birthing pains and, the four horses of the apocalypse and Satan. And so it just, anyway, I mean, it freaked me out. I'm like, what in the world am I seeing? I had to stop looking at it because I never experienced anything like that before. And then I just thought about that this morning, that vision that I had last winter, or may have been in the summer. It was sometime last year. Uh, I'm just laying there thinking, right? I just laid my head down, and then I'm seeing something, and I blink my eyes like 6 different times because I'm like, what in the world am I seeing? There's not supposed to be anything there. And I still haven't made sense out of it, whatever it was. But, and I don't know how to explain it, except it was like so like the shape almost of a tornado, except it looked like it was metal, and it had, what are those things called? So like the shape of a cone almost, but it was spiraling. And so it was spiraling like down, counterclockwise. And it wasn't completely closed off. It was like a wired kind of spiral cone looking thing, and just doesn't make any sense. But whatever it was, yeah, kind of like a cyclone, but it's got to be. That's not what I saw. What I saw was it looked like it was like made out of metal, and so I don't know what it implies. I have no clue what it implies. I did some research trying to look for something that looks like it, because I'm like, what in the world? I mean, and I'm wide awake and I'm seeing this, and I'm blinking my eyes waiting for it to go away. And when I open my eyes and it's still there, I'm like, what in the world am I seeing? It was the craziest thing ever. Yeah, kind of like a spear. I just don't know what it means because it appeared to be metal, but even asteroids are metal. I mean, they have metals in them. But this, looked like it was man-made and not something that was made in nature. But, it may have been symbolic. I don't know. But the weird thing today, so I'm not a numbers person, right? But except that 3/14/2020 stood out for me. And then what it meant in scripture, the tip of the spear could be. That's a good point. Um, Very good point, Suzanne. Okay, so there's this Christian couple out here, and their name is Cooper, right? Now, I've never personally known anybody named Cooper. Okay.
And then the lady that I was dealing with to get my medical insurance and stuff, her name is Cooper, right? And then today I was walking the elderly gentleman and his dogs, and we go over to the dog park, and these kids come over with a dog, and the dog collar says Cooper. So I'm like, that's three Coopers all of a sudden, and I've never known anybody with the name Cooper before in all my life. So I'm like, that's kind of odd. That's just odd. And so I just did the numbers on just by the letter C being the number 3, the letter O being the number 15, the letter P being 16, the letter E being 5, and the letter R being, I think it was 18. And so then I looked it up in Hebrew and Greek, what the numbers mean, and I created a whole interesting sentence out of this relating to the times we're in. So that was really crazy because I don't do numbers, but it was just, oh, that's right, that guy's name was Cooper too. Interesting, right? Right. I'm gonna have to investigate that a little more. His well, not his, but the pale horse. Not his theory on it, but what the scripture says on it. And then relate that sentence that I put together out of the letters from the name. Because it was just odd, my whole life I've never met any Coopers, and then all of a sudden I've got 3, and the dog showed up as Cooper, and I'm like, okay, there's something with this name. So, and it may not be, but it just, I found it strange. And normally I don't investigate something unless I get that feeling, like there's something up. And, cause I just think most things, you know, just happen by happenstance. And this, but I was like, there's something up with his name. I got to figure this one out. I thought maybe, I have high copper blood. Yeah. And it happens in threes. Yeah. That's what, so when I saw the dog, when the dog came in and this big collar on this little dog and it says Cooper, I'm like, okay, that's 3 Coopers in a row. So, and I haven't met anyone else new, with new names. You know what I mean? So it's 3 Coopers in a row with with the name, without any other names coming into play in between. So I'm like, that's interesting. And so yeah, 3 usually means some type of confirmation. So I don't know. Anyway, I'll put the sentence together and read it to y'all later. But it was it was interesting, just like 3/14/2020 was. How appropriate for the times. So yes, Satan is the prince of the air, the power of the air. So there you have it. Copper Cooper, yeah, copper purified, right. Right, but wait till I read this. Right, wait till I put this sentence together out of the Greek and Hebrew for those numbers. You're gonna. It's almost what you just said there. There. Yeah, it's almost that. So pretty interesting, huh? Anyway, we'll see. I thought it was interesting. So today, look, this thing hasn't loaded yet. Oh, there we go. All right, the U.S. at their last update was at 53,740 infected. Italy is at 69,176. They have lots of deaths in Italy, and they have they have lots of deaths and lots of people in critical condition. So, and so does Spain now. Spain is up to 39,000. Germany's up to 32,000. Iran's up to 24,000. And most of these have a lot of people in serious condition. So right now, Italy, I'm not looking at the page that tells you the ones in serious condition. I'm just looking at total deaths and total recoveries. So in Italy right now, they've only had 8,326 recover. They've had 6,820 deaths, almost 7,000 deaths, and they have like 3 or 4,000 or more in serious condition right now that they can't post an outcome on because they're bad off. So, we're still low in deaths, but we're still real early in the infection. But right now, the total deaths worldwide is 18,615. Total infected was over 4,000 and something, or 400,000, excuse me. Let's see. Iran has had almost 2,000 deaths. Spain has had almost 3,000 deaths. Oh, wow. The U.S. is getting covered here quick. Maybe I should open up the screen and share this. I think we had the second death in I don't know where that is. Hold on, let me get North America back up here. All right, United States. Atlanta is getting pretty full. Oh, guess that's a new death in Norfolk. No, there's eight new ones. Let's see, Virginia Beach is getting bigger. But it's getting out of control. Poor New York. And I can't believe the president said what he said today. Maybe he was hoping to pick the oh really? In World War II? Maybe he was hoping to pick up people's spirits and, for the stock market to go back up. I don't know, but he's giving people a false sense of safety. It is not going to be gone by Easter. And I'm still suspicious about China. I mean, look what it's doing in Italy right now, and Spain. Look what it's doing in New York. And they were doing cleaning and Chicago to a bunch of other states went on lockdown today, which they've got a big spread of viruses. Oh, and somebody that was at the one of the college kids doing spring break in Florida on the beaches, talking about they were partying and they didn't care and stuff. Well, one of them is positive and ill. Yeah, but yeah, the last few years, many flus. Yes. That's what I'm saying. This ain't I don't see this going away because the weather's getting warm. Because, okay, if they're saying 86 degrees could kill it, right? Well, the human body is the average is 98.6 degrees. So if the heat in the human body isn't killing it, then what makes you think, you know? Now, yeah, so it could kill it on surfaces, perhaps, but I kind of think it'll make it last longer, especially in places like here where the humidity is so high. I think that just gives it room to thrive because your lungs are moist and it thrives in your lungs. So, I don't know. And it's 98.6 degrees. So with moisture. So I don't get, you know, on surfaces, if the direct sun can hit it long enough, I believe it can kill a lot of it. So, like in parks or whatever, if they are infected right now, if you get 3 good warm hot days of sun beating down on it, it'll probably kill the germs there. Yes. But in some area where, something's hidden from the sun, or an area that doesn't get, that's shaded, man, this thing is so. But look, okay, so SARS-1 had a death rate, or had an infection rate of 10%. MERS, are you ready for this one? MERS infection rate was 34%. Now, MERS has not mutated yet, unless this is going to be MERS and they're not telling us. They're all part of the coronavirus family. MERS infected 34%, and it was very deadly. So this one is already, from the numbers I'm watching it, and mind you, billions of people haven't even been tested, but the numbers that have been tested, the death rate is 15% so far. And that's not even including the tens and 20s of thousands that are in critical condition right now from this. Or the ones that died back in December and January and November that had this, and it wasn't diagnosed because they didn't know about the coronavirus and they didn't have tests for it. But these people had flu-like symptoms but tested negative for the flu. Guarantee you it was this already. They can only say it's the first case after they after they do testing for it. That's the criteria they have to make. They can't call it corona if they weren't testing for it. Yes, staph, right, running rampant. Yep. And they're using they're using ultraviolet, or they're using UVC rays lights in hospitals, and it doesn't seem to be doing the job. And like I said, UVC, like the UVC radiation coming from the sun, well, it can kill some things. It can kill some bacteria and stuff. But the problem is it kills good bacteria as well. And we have, oh my gosh, the amount of fungus around here growing, the different kinds of fungus that have never been around here, it's crazy. It is crazy. And the coral reefs were bleached out. So, if people don't realize the UVC is affecting the earth, and it's affecting plant vegetation, it's affecting bacteria and viruses, molds, which fungus is a mold. Fungus is a form of mold. And it's out of control. Like in Virginia, Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Chesapeake, Suffolk, it's out of control. You just see it growing all up the trees. It's like, wow, the tree trunks. and never seen it like that before. So it's all biblical, and but it's okay. You know, but people need to take this virus seriously. Whatever their impression is that it was man-made or whatever they, you know, whatever they think, that's neither here nor there at this point. At this point, it's affected over 187 countries. I've never seen anything spread to this many countries. So it's definitely got to be airborne. Or it's in the water. Either that or it's in the water. You know? And we know the water's going to be poisoned and kill a third of mankind. So, yes, yes, all over the trees. And then I took a picture of this. It was the most beautiful fungus mold I've ever seen before. It might be from meteorites, exactly. They just were studying a meteorite yesterday, one that fell in Australia, and they were talking about the superconductors in it, and they're like mesmerized by what they're finding. But anyway, they always are. They give us all these explanations for everything, and then months or years later, they're like, "Oh, well, we must have been wrong on that because this doesn't fit the models at all." And now, you know, like they said with the now they know they're wrong about the distance and the size of the northern star, the most studied star, the most paid attention to star throughout history. Has guided many of boats and walking travelers back 6,000 years ago. And then, okay, so they said that these particular sunbursts, these CMEs, um, there's some that can come from the sun to the earth within 10 minutes. Within 10 minutes. So how is the sun 93 million light years away if if it's going to take the speed of light 93 million years, you know, if it's going to take, you know what I mean? But these things can eject from the sun and hit the earth's atmosphere within 10 minutes. Oh, okay. Yeah, I just caught that last night. I'm like, that's strange because there was no time gap in that. There was no time missing from that, you know, from when from when it was there and it disappeared and it was back. If there had been a time gap in it, then I would have said, okay, it's just missing footage. Now, mind you, there's 21 hours of missing footage on that because that was only a 3 hour span. But in that 3 hour span that was up there, there was no time gap in that. So where'd the sun go? That, you know, who knows? It was just odd. And then let me see if I still have this up. Let me share the electron, the proton. Oh, come on, because this is unusual too. This is pretty high. I've never seen this color. Let me pull it up and then I'll share it. I've never seen it where it's at. Pretty interesting. Oh, come on, don't do that. Come back here. All right, where is it? Down the bottom. Down the bottom. Oops, I scrolled too fast. I really need to plug a mouse into this thing because this little pad is real touchy. All right, let me see if it's still doing what it was doing earlier. Yeah, it's not as intense, but it's still there. So let me share this.
Gotta move that to the front. So this area, this light blue is way up here. So this is really high electron content. Let me scroll down a little so you can see. So you usually see the little darker areas. And you see a little bit, like right here is where the lightest color you would see is about right here. Well, now it's up to here. See these? See that? That's a lot of electrons. A lot of extra electrons affecting the Earth. And this happens to be over the map of the United States. So Texas and Mexico and California are definitely affected by it. But I'm pretty sure it affects the whole Earth. But they've got to be getting like a double dose of electrons when you see those lighter blues. So see, it stays in, the average stays like in this range right here, which is 10. You'll see the darker colors sometimes, which means that's less electrons. But so we stay about right here. But for it to go up to here, it's approaching the 50% mark. Or the number 50, I don't think that's percentage. It's total electron content, 10 to the 16th power. Anyway, that was interesting. I'd never seen it get that light up in this range before. And it's there. So, don't know. Oh, okay. That's cool. All right, so going back to, oh, we're in the U.S., all right. See, I don't like this one as much. I need to pull up my other one that gives me the totals for each state versus this. I have to click on each little dot for each state, the little clusters, and then you'd have to add them all together to figure out. Well, okay, totals for that part of New York is 780. Total deaths for New York is 780. Almost 1,000 people are getting close. No, total deaths in the United States, I'm sorry. Total deaths in the United States is 780, so almost 900. I mean, 800. Ah! Total deaths in New York is 192. Total deaths in Washington, King Washington, is 94. Total deaths in unassigned New York is 39. So, see, they're breaking it into sections. So it's a different part of New York. There's 39 deaths. And so I don't like this one as much as the other one I use because it just gives you the total for the whole state. So you don't have to click on each little dot. So, let's see, you're in Pennsylvania. Bucks, Pennsylvania has 69 confirmed. Let me see if I can find somewhere close to you. Oh, that's Mercer, New Jersey. They have 58. Go back to Pennsylvania. That's New Jersey. Chester, Pennsylvania has 40. Louisiana, gracious, Louisiana has a lot of deaths. You know, for the ratio of people infected, they have a lot of deaths.
me see if I can find somewhere close to where you're at. Philadelphia's got 252. Delaware, Pennsylvania has 84. Sarasota, Florida has some that concern me. I want to go back and look at them. I'm going to have to pull up my other thing to get a total for the whole, for each state. Northampton, Pennsylvania has a total of 33 and 2 deaths. Berks, Pennsylvania has 16. Montgomery, Pennsylvania has 159 and 1 death. I already did Philadelphia. That's Ocean, New Jersey. It's 180 and 1 death. York, Pennsylvania has 18. Cumberland, Pennsylvania has 13. Lebanon, Pennsylvania has 3. Carbon, Pennsylvania has 1. Need to put my reading glasses on. Monroe, Pennsylvania has 45 and 1 death. Lackawanna, Pennsylvania has 15 and 1 death. Luzerne, Pennsylvania has 21. Montour, Pennsylvania has 3. Centre, Pennsylvania has 7. Allegheny, Pennsylvania has 58 and 2 deaths. Westmoreland, Pennsylvania has 11. This is horrible. Ohio's getting up there. Gahago, Ohio has 167 and 2 deaths. Lorain, Ohio has 30. Stark, Ohio has 13 and 1 death. Delaware, Ohio has 11. Franklin, Ohio has 75 and 2 deaths. Butler has 18. What's this? Miami, Ohio has 19. Hamilton has 38. Marion, Indiana has 161 and 6 deaths. This is just all over the place. So let me go to Florida right quick and check on Sarasota. And see, for these kids partying in Florida, well, a lot of people retire in Florida, after they got their last years to live after working, and some people are still working, like John. Oh my goodness. 74 years old, and that man is still working, and his wife is still working. But anyway, a lot of people go to Florida for their retirement years, and so there's a lot of older population closely knit there. And then you got these college students going there on spring break and not caring about this coronavirus. Shame, 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 shame. Okay. Manatee, Florida. Excuse me. 16, 1 death. Sarasota, Florida, 26 people confirmed. yeah, John definitely needs to stay in the house. And anything they get from the grocery store, they need to sanitize. You know, cans, whatever. They need to take that rubbing alcohol and wipe it over everything before, you know, before they need to wear gloves and rub everything down, wiping, you know, whatever. Boxes, you know, if they get boxes of noodles or whatever, they need to sanitize it all because the person stocking it could have been infected. So, and everyone needs to do that, really, because getting your stuff from the grocery store doesn't mean someone there isn't contagious and doesn't know it. And yeah, now they're wearing gloves and masks, but we don't know the whole process that everybody is, or the people walking by, the people going in the store to shop that are sick and touching stuff. They're not wearing gloves and masks. You know what I mean? And so you know how you'll look at something, you pick it up and read the label or whatever, move it to the side to get one from the back. So anything you get from the grocery store or drugstore, anywhere you go shopping, you need to sanitize the items after you get them home. Just need you think, oh, okay. Oh man, I guess the it buffered because it's telling me welcome to the chat again. Like I left. I don't know if it buffered and I don't know. It does that sometimes when I share the screen. I know it's a bit much for it to do that. But so I might have to stop doing shows for a while until I can update my upgrade my protection software because it expires in a few days, and I definitely don't want to be running these programs I run on the internet without protection. It keeps me and all the viewers safe. But if I go away for a while, that's why. I hear the helicopter flying over. I don't know if that's police or the Navy or the Army. They've been doing a lot of heavy practicing, of course. I mean, but it's, you know, I'm in an area where there's nothing but military. And so, you know, we see them, but they've been doing, you know, a lot heavier practicing, um, all kinds of stuff. But I've been seeing that for the last, um, let's see, the very first time I saw it, I was taking my granddaughter back to Georgia. So that had to be 9 years ago. And there was a lot of it going on 58, going down 58 before I got to 85. And there was a lot of it, a lot of it, a lot of helicopters dropping men out, you know, um, a lot of mock situations. So they were, you know, doing prep, but they do stuff like that. I mean, that's standard. They have to practice. You know, they couldn't go into a war zone and you know be effective if they haven't rehearsed all the different type possibilities of scenarios. So, but it was a lot heavier, you know, than I'd ever seen it before. And then, of course, it's ramped up even more since then. But so has everything else going on in the world, all the crises, and now this. This is big. Well, Satan is the prince of the air, so. And we know he's angry, and so maybe that part in scripture, you know, we'll see. Seems the governments have been preparing for. Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But right now, you know, let's just say hypothetically, if this virus isn't as bad as they're saying, which I believe it is, I believe it's worse than they're saying. And you gotta figure that by the actions they're taking and and the spread of it worldwide like it is. But I mean, there's people that will have different theories on different things, and that's fine. But let's just say hypothetically, it isn't this big and this deadly, and there's some other reason, like an incoming asteroid or uh, whatever, and they don't want mass casualties, so they don't want mass groups together, or an office building that holds 5,000 workers. They don't want them there. They don't want 5,000 people in one spot. So I don't know. Either way, whatever it is, but I believe this virus is real and it is more deadly than it's being shared. And it's more anyway. Um, and like they said, they don't have enough respirators and they don't have big enough IC units and they don't have enough doctors and nurses to handle millions of people showing up at hospitals all at once. And that's what will happen if this thing gets out of control. I mean, look at what they're already setting up, temp hospitals in New York. They don't have enough beds. But even last year, the flu last year, my sister went to the hospital, to the ER, and she called me and she said, Judy, it's like pandemonium here. She said, I've never seen it so crazy. There's no beds, there's nowhere to sit. All the doctors look terrified, the nurses look terrified. And this was, wasn't the coronavirus last year, but this was just the, flu. And she's like, it was scary. She's like something you see in a war movie. And that was last year. So, but we can fault the people for not already having masks and gloves and gowns. You know what I mean? Not having a supply of that to cover 330 million Americans. That should have already been done. Everybody's known about the possibility of a pandemic. It's been lurking in the background for years. Everybody knew eventually it was going to happen. I mean, for those of us that know scripture, we knew it was going to happen. But for the scientists of the world and these people that don't believe in scripture, they knew scientifically it was going to happen. They knew superbugs were coming, as they called them 20 some years ago. So why weren't they prepared for at minimum, masks and gloves and gowns? At minimum. At minimum. Now that's irresponsibility on everybody in government. Because somebody should have stepped up. Now, obviously, we don't know there's a shortage. We don't know that they don't, you know what I mean? We wouldn't have a clue to that. But it's something that they should have told us years ago. You need to have this on hand in case of an epidemic or pandemic. And every American citizen should have had them. Well, everybody, there should have been enough to cover everybody in the country, whether they're a citizen or visiting or snuck in illegally, doesn't matter because we don't want it spreading. So there should have been enough on hand already. So that is total irresponsibility on their behalf. But they take home big paychecks, don't they? They live in big fancy houses and take big expensive vacations all year round. You know, but they can't put, and they can put how many billions of dollars into Planned Parenthood, but they can't put $1 million in masks. Come on, man. Shame on them. Shame on them. That they already knew this was a high probability to happen. They didn't know when, but they knew it was coming. And then the very first, I mean, it should be done in flu season anyway. The flu kills a lot of people that it doesn't need to kill. You know? So, anyway. But see, a lot of people are saying, you know, and I said it at first, you know, before it hit here, before it hit the United States, I was like, you know, well, the flu kills so many a year and nobody's screaming about that, and they should be. But this infection rate is nothing like the flu. The death rate on this is nothing like the flu. So people need to quit treating this like a cold or a flu, because it's not. It's the flu on mega steroids. It's times 1,000. This is bad. So, you know, old lives matter. Darn it! I want T-shirts made to say that. The year 2020, when we found out old lives don't matter to a majority of people. How sad is that? But it's not even just the older people. It's anyone with underlying illnesses, and there's millions of them that aren't old in the United States with diabetes, asthma. Yes, I'm taking calls with diabetes, asthma, heart disease. You know, I have asthma and I have heart disease and I have the beginnings of diabetes. You know, my sugar level's not what it's supposed to be anymore. I have, you know, so anyway, and I'm not, because I'm not at the age yet that they're saying, well, anybody over 50, I guess. But anyway, whatever. So these people saying, you know, oh, well, it's just the old people dying from it, or the people that are sick already. Shame on them. Can we line them up and everybody smack them as hard as they can? Just line them all up and we all just go down the road. We all smack them so they get smacked like 3 million times for all the people's lives that they say don't matter. Of course, all lives matter. It is not up to us to say someone's life isn't important because you want to go out to the beach, you know? I said, they got to answer to God for that, though. Yes, all lives matter. Those poor children that don't have clean water to drink in other countries, okay, their lives matter. I'll wait to see if it rings properly. Remember, it might not the first time. Oops. Just waiting on it to ring. Ring, ding, 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 a ding, 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 ding. Nothing yet. Oh, there it is. All right, we'll wait on it to connect. Why is it? Oh, let me cut the back. volume down on the TV. Well, I already answered it, so why isn't it? It's acting crazy. Is it connecting? I think it's connecting. It's trying to connect. I don't hear anything yet, but it's still trying to connect. I don't know why the first call does this. It's still trying, Suzanne. Nope, now it's ringing again. Okay. Okay, I told it to answer. Let's see if it connects this time. Alright, I'm waiting. It looks like it, nope, it closed out. Okay, you gotta wait a minute. I'm gonna have to reboot it. Okay, so like if you call and it doesn't answer, you gotta wait for it to hear that hang up sound, because if it doesn't hang up, it's acting weird. Which is sad because it's one of the programs that's not free. You know, I pay for it, so it should act right. And they haven't had any upgrades for it at all since I've had it, since, over a year. No, they haven't had one upgrade for it. Or update, whatever. Okay, yeah, because it's closed. It closed it all the way out. Uh, why is it ringing and nothing is showing up? It's not showing up yet. It's still ringing. Oh, there it is. It's showing up now. All right, we'll see if it connects. It might connect this time. Nope, it closed out again. Let me call you, because this ain't working right. Because it closed all the way out again. Oh, now it's an unexpected error. Details. It might not work right. I don't know. But I'll try. After it loads again. All right, calls. Okay, not trying to dial out yet. Right now it says it's updating conversation. All right, now it's trying to call you. Yeah, it's definitely Been call issues this year. Don't know why. All right, it's ringing you. Not ringing on your end yet? Suzanne is unavailable. That's what it's telling me. Did it ring on your end? Huh, I've never seen that before. That's crazy. All right, I'm going to try one more time. If not, I'm going to have to reboot the whole thing. Because it's acting crazy. No, I don't think the chat has anything to do with it. I don't know. That's weird.
Hello?
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, hi. You know
Hi.
what? Maybe it could be because I'm in chat. Is that possible? So I
Yeah,
went out of chat?
no. Because I've had conversations with you and others while they were in the chat and on the
Yeah,
phone.
that's true.
No, it's just there's an issue and I'm not sure what it is. Like I said, they haven't offered any updates or upgrades, since I've had it.
Oh,
And so I don't know. But then Microsoft also had an issue. They created issues with one of their updates, with one of their auto
yeah.
updates. It was causing issues with a lot of different programs that people are trying to run. So it was an issue with drivers and whatnot. And so I don't know. But yeah, it's been acting crazy lately.
Well, I think there's an echo.
Is there?
Wait, can you hear me okay?
I hear you fine. I don't have an echo on my end.
Yeah, I hear an echo
Are
on
you
my
on
end.
speaker?
No, not that I know of. I'm on my, wait, I'm going to get out. Can you hear me okay now?
It's the same.
Okay. You know what it is? Because I'm going to see if it's, let me lower this. It's because I'm in your chat. All right. Oh, no, I don't hear it now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Oh, okay. I keep looking at that spooky picture on your on your header there, and I don't want to look at the spooky picture no more.
Hey, I mean, Satan's a spooky guy,
No,
and
well, actually, trust me, I've seen a lot of horror movies in my life.
right,
I'm sure I came across that face.
right. Well, I don't like horror movies. I don't watch them. I've accidentally, seen some
I don't
parts
watch
of them
them.
walking in
Yeah.
rooms when people had them on or whatever. But yeah, I don't need to
You know
watch
what?
horror.
I feel like I had my share. I used to love horror when I was younger. I used to watch Twilight Zone, all that stuff. But I feel like I had like I feel like I had my I'm not like, I had my share. And even
Right,
like my sister kind of like I always like the paranormal movies and that type of thing. I was never really into the gore movies. I
right.
never really cared for them.
Yeah, I do
That were
not
just
like
like
gore. Uh-uh.
yeah, those I just wasn't into. I always liked more of the paranormal, supernatural movies. But I feel like probably because I'm in my 50s and I feel like these movies that I don't have Netflix no more anyway, but I feel like these movies that come out today, even my sister, she has Netflix, but she's kind of like, there's some movies things she likes, but she says the same thing. It's recycled.
Right,
There's like it's like that same storyline, and a lot of it is pulled from the Bibles and stuff like that,
right,
or it's prophecy movies. So, but I always laugh. I'm like, like back in the day, once they started doing parts, like sequels are okay, but then they started doing the 3D thing back in the day. And so
right.
they would always recycle it now that I think about it. Any movies, but especially horror movies. And then they got a little bit original with, like, at one point, I want to say it was the 90s or the 2000s, where it was like, you know, I forgot what it was, like Freddy Krueger versus Michael, or you know what I mean? Like
Right.
this one, Predator versus aliens, and but that was about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just figured I'd call you so that I just didn't feel like typing it.
Yeah. See, I don't like typing. Well, it's not as bad on the computer, but on my phone, I do not like. Just to send a message, a message, that's fine, right? But when people want to go back and forth in an hour conversation typing, I do not like it. It takes too long for
No,
one, because I got to
you know
wait for them
what?
to
Like,
type, and then I got to type, and then they got to type, and then I got,
well,
it
you
makes
know what?
a 10-minute conversation turn into an hour of time. And I'm like, you know what? Just call me. And they're like, oh,
Well,
I
that's
can't
how I
right
feel.
now. I'm
That's how I
busy.
feel
I'm like,
with
but you got time to
texting.
type, huh?
I'm not I'm not really fast with texting. Like, I've seen people that use two little thumbs with texting,
Yeah, my
and I
daughter
can't.
does. She's so fast at it.
Yes, the kids are fast at it, or certain people. I've seen it, but I'm still like, as far as texting, I'm like a one finger texter, and but if I got on a
Me too,
keyboard,
normally. It's because my fingernails are usually long, so
yeah,
I mean, they break often, but, they're
yeah.
usually,
But
yeah.
I like, if it was a keyboard, I wouldn't have a problem. I might be a little rusty. I don't know if I ever told you, because I was a transcriptionist at
Right,
one
you
time
told
in my
me.
life too.
Yeah,
I think I told you that.
yeah,
And I used to type the speed of people talking and put it in actual words.
right.
So I was that fast with my fingers as far as typing. So I don't have, like, if I have to type something,
Oh,
I
I
really
thought
have to
they
type
typed in
something. I still
code. I
go
thought
on
they
a type.
typed in
I know.
abbreviations.
Oh, say that again?
I thought they typed in abbreviations.
No. What I did, I didn't do steno. If
Oh,
you
so
think
you,
of
oh,
a
okay.
pornography,
Okay.
no, that's like a steno.
Right.
I did transcription, like basically a typing of a longhand, like basic. Because I used to work. Oh God, this is going back in the '80s. I worked for a magazine company because I was always a quick typist. I learned how to type when I was like 13, on a regular typewriter. My
Right.
mother taught me because she knew how to type. So I knew how to type. I had typing in high school, which I passed, passed fine. And then office jobs, like, not really office jobs. I just knew how to type. I knew what my letters are and everything. And then in the '80s, God, I want to say, like, more to, I want to say, was it 86, 1986 or something around then? I got a job as, I did medical transcription, but prior to that, I got a job as, I worked with a magazine company. This was in New Jersey, and it was like I think it was like 17 or 19 or something like that, different magazines. And it was
Right.
like for like a rock magazine. It was each one, um, like teenager magazines.
Right.
And there was different editors. Like, one was, which I always enjoyed, the rock magazine. One was I forget the names of them, a pop magazine, because the one woman that worked there, her name was Cynthia Horner, and she knew the Jackson family. She grew up with the Jackson family,
Right.
and she knew them well. So she knew Michael Jackson and all them, and he was actually one of the hardest people I ever transcribed. I don't even know if I ever told you that about that one. And he was very soft spoken when he spoke, at least in her interviews. And he really did an interview. He was she used to say he was an introvert. He was like, she said he was good on stage, but he was afraid of people in public. Like, that's what she used to say. And but there was like many, I was more into metal. So I used to get tickets. I used to go to shows, getting it from the magazine company. And it was, like, it was a, she would get, it was a tape, like a cassette tape. They would go out and interview the stars or whatever. Sometimes they would even call them on the phone, and they were a little tricky, and record them on the, because the 80s technology, record them with the tape recorder on the phone, and then give us the tape recorder. It was me and another girl, and we would sit there and, transcribe, like just in longhand, was it like, verbatim
Right.
of what they were saying. So sometimes I had to, I used my foot, I had to back up and kind of listen. Sometimes I had to go back because I wasn't really sure what they were saying, because some of these people do have accents. And there was one girl, like, she understood, like, she was good, but more of the, I want to say British accents, like certain accents that I had a tough time and trying to decipher what they were saying. And then the editors would give it back to them so they could make their article for the magazine. And then
Right.
also I would do what's it called? God, this is like showing my age now here, or our age. When they used to do glossies, I'm forgetting what they called it now. I want to say, is it typesetting and glossies? A magazine, how it used to work back in the day
Right.
before the computers were like this.
Right. I don't know. I didn't work in
So,
magazines.
yeah, no, I did. I did for a while. And I learned that bit. I learned that bit, and then and then later on, a few jobs I had. And I used to do temp jobs. I also did transcriptions for like an orthopedic, and I want to say it was another. Yeah, I want to say orthodontist, orthopedic. He was a knee doctor, and he used to actually handle. He was a pretty well off guy, very nice. And I was, I would just